Hi everyone, I'm Shauna and welcome to my channel. So this video is coming to you a bit early and I think your perspective. So the initial no buy year video went up around mid-February and that happened for a couple of reasons. I was super nervous about posting on YouTube and making my YouTube debut. It took me a while to edit because it was like my first time editing a video. And so I sat on it a little longer than I wanted. And I want to publish this video around, beginning of the month when I will be, publishing my subsequent videos because I want to start posting like at the correct time of the month so I can like maintain that month after month. And I also don't want too much time to pass, like 6 weeks to pass before I update you. And so we're doing it now. This is a positive update. I'm honestly surprised to how this month went. I explained in that video. If you haven't seen that first video, I totally recommend you go watch it so you can be looped in as to like where I'm starting from. And I explained in that video that I was afraid of my money. I was afraid to look at my bank account, to look at my statements. I would just kind of go in and just like put blinders on and then just like pay my bill that once a month and like not think about anything. I hadn't set up savings plans or anything of that nature. In one single month, I am no longer afraid of my money and afraid of my bank account. That to me is like the most shocking thing or the most surprising thing that could happen in just 1 month. And I kind of feel in control of my money. Like I'm telling my money where it should go now. It's not telling me where it should go. And part of why I have this like newfound relationship with money is because I started a budget. On February 1st, I wrote my very first budget. And while this year is about not spending any money on makeup, clothing, hair care, body care, like we've already gone into that, but the rest of my life didn't have a budget. I didn't have a set amount on what I wanted to spend on dates or what I wanted to spend on food or anything like that. And I also didn't really understand what my fixed expenses look like. I knew what they were individually, but I hadn't compiled them to like a singular number before. And I did that. I get paid in an unconventional way. I might have talked about this in my first video. I get paid a certain amount at the beginning of each like school semester. And then if I'm TAing, I get paid a monthly rate for my work. So what I decided is that every 4 months I get that lump sum. I'm putting it in the bank and then living off of the that monthly income. And honestly, that monthly income is less than I anticipated, and that was really shocking to me. In some respects, I'm a little worried, when I get to okay, I'm going to spend money again. It kind of feels as though like savings and being able to save that money is going to become really tight. But for now, I'm learning to live that budget and work that budget. And the first month of budgeting, it's a learning curve, and I had to move some expenses around. And February is just like, it's an expensive month for me. It's as expensive as December. My partner has his birthday, we have our anniversary, there's Valentine's Day. He generally has a hockey tournament that we go to. Whoa. And so I was worried about making the numbers work in this expensive month. It all worked out, and we even saved some money together, and like the budget was successful. And I initially thought, so I set aside, I think it was $40 for unplanned expenses. And I put unplanned expenses as like essentially anything that I'm going to buy that's like not food, or like, transportation, things in the fixed income, which I mean makes sense. But I thought that $40 would be too generous because I'm not buying anything. So like, what am I gonna buy? And obviously I was wrong. That's why unplanned expenses are there. For this month, I did buy a couple of things so I could start my channel. I bought a microphone and a tripod, which, you know, weren't that expensive, but I also purchased a big book of verbs for my Italian exam, and there might have been something else. I had everything listed. It was about $100. It was about $60 more than I thought that I would spend. And that was a bit of a wake-up call for me because even though I'm not buying hair care and all of those, you know, no buy things, there's still things that I'm probably gonna have to buy every month. I mean, that's probably a rookie mistake. I've been thinking about, okay, what am I likely gonna have to buy this month? Or what am I thinking about buying this month? A couple of things crossed my mind. First of all, I've been having really nice weather and like spring really feels like it's around the corner. So I was thinking, well, I allowed myself in January to purchase a new like spring fall jacket because I don't have one. And I lost my sunglasses this month, and I was like, maybe I'll buy new sunglasses. And then I was also, for the past like 3 or so months, I have been working on my menstrual supplies so I can purchase a menstrual cup, you know, working those down so I only have a few left so I can, you know, transition, but still have to have some of those things. And that's an expense as well. So as I was thinking about these things, I have increased my unplanned expenses category. In thinking about those purchases, I realized that my mindset has already shifted. Before my no buy year, I would have just been like, okay, I need new sunglasses, I'm just gonna buy them. I need a menstrual cup, I'm just gonna go buy it. I need a whatever, I'm just gonna go buy it. And now I'm like, okay, how much money do I actually have to work with, and what can I fit in at this time? My perspective with even like what is considered a necessity is still changing. And that's what I want. I wanted to be able to shift my mindset between a need and a want because those things have blurred. And so while I allowed myself to potentially purchase a pair of boots and a jacket, a fall winter jacket, I decided not to buy the boots. And my thinking with that was, and a bit of a backstory. So in October of 2019, I bought a new winter jacket. And that's because my current winter jacket that I'd been using didn't fit. I couldn't zip it up, like it was unusable. So I was literally at the point where if I didn't buy a new jacket, I would have no jacket to wear in the wintertime. And my spring fall jacket that I've been using, the zipper completely broke, and like the jacket was unwearable and unsalvageable, and it also like was getting too tight. There was nothing I could wear, and if I didn't go and buy out that jacket, I wouldn't be appropriately dressed for the season. Not having a winter jacket in Canada is going to be difficult. And I'm always freezing cold. So I bought a jacket, and to me, that was a true need. No jacket equals not being seasonally dressed. The boots, while I would like a new pair because I only have a little short boot, doesn't, you know, cover my feet when it's snowing, and it's also not warm at all. My feet freaking freeze when it's -30 out. And I have a pair of higher boots that are like really clunky, kind of ugly winter boots. I don't like the way they look at all, and they're way too big. And, you know, between those, I would probably replace them both with one pair, or, you know, replace the old clunky ones with a new pair. But I survived on these two boots last winter. I did it. And last winter it was way colder and way snowier than we had this year. So if I managed to get by with these set of boots last year, then I can do it again this year. So to me, I'm thinking about my coat, and I do have other options. I had this gray coat, and I purchased it in November to be like my more like formal, like a little nicer winter coat. If I'm going somewhere a little nicer, because I have a parka. I have a parka for my regular winter usage. And so that other coat I purchased is not really that warm. So now I'm thinking, okay, it could be the perfect transitional coat. And I wore it yesterday. It was about 3 degrees and it was fine. So I can use that. And when it's coming to thinking about my sunglasses as well, I realized a few things. One, those sunglasses were my favorite, and I would happily get rid of all the other sunglasses that I own to just have that one. And that's what I was thinking of doing. But to me, that's not a pressing need. That's not even really a need because I have alternatives that I could use instead. I might not be happy about it, but I can do it. Like, there's other things I can use, so I'm going to use them. So for me, the most like pressing need is the menstrual cup. And that's the thing that if I can only buy one unplanned expense, then it's going to be that. And I made my decision and it fits in the budget. And I'd never thought about things fitting in the budget. And I've never really conceptualized, is this individual item a need or a want? And I'm really happy that I'm starting to think through all of my purchases. This past month, I wasn't successful 100% of the time with doing that. So with the tripod and the mic, I did. I waited my 7 days and they've been useful and I'm really happy that I made those purchases. Oh, the other purchase was a film editing software. My computer did not even have anything. Without purchasing something, I would have nothing. So I did. Also a good decision. And the one thing I didn't think of or think through was my verb book. I met with my supervisor. He said, you need this book in order to pass your exam. I purchased it that day and I don't regret it. I broke that rule. To me, it was justified. My concern is getting into that habit of not thinking through my purchases because I need it, or like being under that pressure of need. And that's how I reacted in January with my Foucault books. Those weren't a direct need. I could have waited a week, but I didn't. And so I want to make sure I think about each purchase and do spend that time like I said that I will. And breaking it once doesn't mean that I should break it again. And so far in this month, when thinking about the jacket, when thinking about the sunglasses, when thinking about all of these things, I've waited and the processes are happening. So I'm hopeful that I can continue that into the future. January, my food purchases got way out of hand because I kind of took that guilt, or if I was feeling, not guilt, if I was feeling sad or unhappy or happy or celebratory, I would go to shopping. And so in January, I did that a bit with food and I spent an ungodly amount of money on food and like snacks. Like, I'm too embarrassed to admit it in this moment, but it happened. And in February, I really reined it in. And I had some really terrible moments, but I didn't go out and buy a snack or a pizza or whatever it was to like feel better about myself. And first of all, that's a really dangerous habit. It's equivalent to shopping, in its like cathartic release. But I mean, there's also money attached to it. There's also like, it's just a dangerous place to get to. And I'm happy to say that like I reeled that in real quick. It didn't get out of hand again. Once I realized what I was doing, I stopped it in its tracks. Okay, so the hard kind of money thing for me was at the beginning of February, I wrote down how much money I had in my checking, my savings, my TFSA, and then I compared it to now. And the difference was about $200. And I had saved more than that, significantly more. And I was a bit defeated. And I went to go look at my expenses in January when I was using that time as a transition. And I didn't have a budget. It didn't cross my mind to have a budget. It's really clear that I spent money in February to pay off some of that excessive spending in January and excessive in, you know, that food spending, but also like I spent money on my partner's birthday, which is more than I anticipated. This past month has really solidified this no buy is more than not spending on makeup or clothing. It's about changing my spending habits in their totality. And I did say that in my intro video, but this month made it really clear that unless I have a plan in place, my finances and my savings aren't just gonna, you know, control themselves. I need to do that. And so I set up a plan. How much I want to save by the start of the new school year. How much I want to save by the end of December. I'm working towards meeting those goals, and it feels really good to be able to do that. To be able to say, yes, I saved, you know, this amount, and like I'm doing it. I'm saying I'm going to spend this much in February, and I did it. And I'm going to do it again in March. And so that feeling is so nice. Just a few days ago, I felt defeated when I was checking in on my numbers and how much I wanted to spend and how much I actually saved. And I was deflated looking at, okay, I saved $200. Like, what is that? But it's $200 more than I, you know, would have. And each month, like it's gonna be more this month, because my spending wasn't checked in February, and that's going to really reflect itself in March when I go to pay those bills in March. So I am hopeful about this, and I know that I'm heading in the right direction. I want to talk about now what has been my attitude towards shopping in general. So in the past couple of weeks, I've created videos doing an inventory, and I've also done some declutter videos, and also like comparing makeup expenses. And all of these things have really led me to believe, one, I have dumped so much money into items. I knew that, but doing inventory videos has really solidified that fact for me. But also I own so much. And previously, just a few months ago, I wanted to buy more face masks. I wanted to buy more lipsticks. I wanted to buy more eyeshadow. And now I'm feeling overwhelmed with what I have just because I counted it. And so this entire month, I have had zero desire to buy new clothes, new makeup, new skincare. And I started tracking the wear of my clothing in January, and just actually writing down how many things I own has made me feel overwhelmed with what I have. Like, how could I actually realistically expect to wear all of these things in a few months? The answer is you can't. You can't wear 30 sweaters, you know, 30 times or 10 times in 3 months. These videos have made me really aware, and working on them, just how much I own, and being able to quantify it, not just in images, but in numbers and in dollars. And when I was comparing the makeup videos, when I was comparing makeup in Canada and the US, and I have wanted a Natasha Denona eyeshadow palette for a long time. There was a time when the Natasha Denona palettes went on sale. I think it was in like December. They went down to $129, and I was thinking like, okay, should I buy it? Like, should I take the plunge? Because they're on sale. But the retail price, or the sale price that they were being sold for in Canada, was the full price value that Americans were paying. And how much I have and how much money I spent when thinking about that, when I was weighing out that decision, has like my feeling about that and my feeling about Natasha Denona and buying those kinds of palettes have changed. First of all, I have so much that doesn't really matter what kind of brand it is. I just don't need it. And two, I realized that I had been in the past, like just not even blinking and spending $90 on an eyeshadow palette, or buying $90 on a retinol cream. And I didn't even think about it. I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna buy it. Like, I want it, I'm gonna buy it. There was no thought as to how much I would work, how much hours I would have to work in order to afford that thing. I was just okay with spending whatever it was. I was just fine with spending it and not thinking about it. So for March, I have some goals for myself, you know, to continue saving and to continue thinking about that want versus need, to unblur and to pull these things apart. I have some goals for my clothes and to be able to wear them more. And I have some videos planned to be able to do that. So stay tuned. I want to use up my products, and that's exactly what I'm doing. And I just I overall feel as though February was really positive and I am heading in the right financial direction. And I'm really pleased with that. I hope that you will continue to follow along with my no buy journey and this channel as well. I hope that you will also like my video and subscribe to my channel. I really appreciate you watching. Thank you so much. Bye.